We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to keep everything on time. We got a great day planned today, and just welcome. This is what we call. I'm David Landrum. I think we probably got some people on Zoom too this morning, and but anyway, this is our we titled it Builders Bootcamp for our company, and this is really kind of a base shop event. Myself and Lawrence and Stephanie. Lindsay. So again, this is live. This is actually our first live event since last March. Right? So praise the Lord, get good. That's awesome. And man, it's so good. Last night we had a reception at our home, and everybody was just glad to actually be in person. Right, actually greeting people and stuff like that. Jill did buy these special napkins for the reception. Please leave by 9. Okay, and they did not listen to this. Matter of fact, I normally would start off a meeting saying meet somebody you don't know, but hell, everybody here has met everybody, right? I mean, last night they greeted all night long, so. We had a great time, and we've got the construction crew that's been in our house this morning since Mike Neighbors left last night. He just told, I'm thinking, Mike had a little accident, but every event we have a little accident. And he was upset about it. I said, Mike, look, man, that is nothing. So we had fun with that, but appreciate Mike, and we're going to be talking about him later today too. He's really got some great things happening. And so anyway, but listen, we're going to get started. We've got a great agenda. We're going to 1 o'clock. We'll be through by 1. We'll take a 15-minute break. As far as tips on this morning, so we are going to take a break, a 15-minute break. So but if you do need to slip out, go to the restroom, you can go out the back, go around the hall, and the bathrooms are right outside the hallway there. The other thing is, man, if you can't take notes, I learned a long time ago the concept of spaced repetition. When you write something down, you hear something that you need to remember, just jot it down, and then for the next 4, 5, 6 days, go back and review your notes every day, okay? And when you do that, like 4, 5, 6 days in a row, your retention goes through the roof, right? Doing that, and it begins to really sink in. So the other thing too, let's focus today on, think about also your internal conversation, right? So many times our internal conversation is not healthy, right? I heard someone say one time, if someone talked to you the way you talk to yourself, you'd probably slap them, right? And, but be mindful of that internal conversation. Man, it is very powerful. And, the Bible says to love yourself, right? Love your neighbor as yourself. It's okay to love yourself. You need to take care of yourself and all that. And be kind to you, right? And begin to think, instead of listening to that, man, I'm no good, I'm not worthy, begin to change that internal conversation, because it can really change your life. Okay, so now, and then the other thing too, let's really today focus on solutions, okay? Not, your problems are still going to be there when we get through, right? But let's just kind of block that out for the next 4 hours. Let's focus on, okay, what do I need to do to get out of where I am right now to move this thing forward? And so anyway, hopefully we'll do that.
But the crusade is what started this. And if we go back to Art, who started this was all about, they did his mama wrong, right? Because what the insurance companies do to middle class America and how they steal the wealth from us and they don't educate us, it's a tragedy, right? And we're here for a crusade, okay? And you got to take this thing to heart and own it, because what we're doing is not just making money, okay, and building teams, it's helping people. That's what we're really here for, okay? All the other stuff comes if your heart's in the right direction and you're out there to help people. Sorry. So I never owned what we did as a crusade. I came to make money. Most of y'all are here because y'all want an opportunity to make money. Okay. But we have a lady that's going to come share a story. Changed my career because it showed me what the crusade really does. Okay, guys, and what the other companies really do. And this was a really personal friend of mine. His name was Corey Lipsy. And we sat down with him on a call center. Had a group of guys come to the house. You know how we do call centers, try to help everybody set appointments. Appointments hardest thing to do, right? So we're setting appointments. And Corey had just left the distribution center. And we know what group life is, right? It's not yours, it's the company's. So he was losing it instantly. He loves his son. And he loves Sonia, and he didn't want to make sure to have him protected. So I picked up the phone. I was like, "Hey, brother, I know you just left Friday. You're going to manage the gym now. We need to get you covered." And man, just like that, he was like, "Sure, man. Meet me out front Monday on the picnic table." We just knocked it out, $26.52, right? I'm gonna let Sonia come on and tell the rest of the story.
Yes, let me come on up. I don't want to mess up my makeup.
Y'all, Sonia Lipsy.
How you all doing? Yeah, my name is Sonia Lipsy, and as Lawrence was telling you, a good friend of his, which is my ex-husband, my son's father, Corey Lipsy. Corey passed on July the 3rd of 2017. And at that time, my son was 9 years old. And, my son lost his best friend. They were each other biggest fan. And it was a huge loss for both of us. But even though, we weren't together, but we was co-parents at its best. We made sure, how he stayed with both of us. And I met Lawrence that night at the hospital. Well, the time that we worked together, we already had another policy. But I met Lawrence that night. He come in this July the 3rd, 2017. He gave me his business card at the hospital that night. And he said, "You need to come talk to me." At this time, I didn't have any knowledge of another policy being out there. I think this in July, I contacted Lawrence probably in September. And like 2 months later is when I contact him. I know he probably was waiting on me to contact him. But at that time, money was not on. Money wasn't enough, for my son, us losing, Corey at that time. So at that time, money was not on my mind. So I contact Lawrence in September. Him and his wife, Stephanie, they came over and talked to me. They was telling me about the policy. As they was telling me about the policy, I ended up giving them an experience that I had with another company. I think someone just said something about how other insurance companies do. Well, I don't want to say this insurance company name, but we had a policy with them. And what they did is when they brought me to the office, they held me hostage because they wanted me to give this check back to get another policy that I didn't even understand. But what I did, I knew that it probably was going to be something that I wasn't going to ever get to see. So they kept me in hostage along with the check in their hand. Didn't give me the check. They held the check and said, "Well, this is what you need to do." And I'm sitting there, I'm like, "Okay, just give me a moment and let me think about it and I'll get back with you." Now, when I left the office, I was really, really upset that they kind of treated me like that and not letting me make my own decision on what I wanted to do with the money. So now I want to let you know how Lawrence handled this with me. Lawrence came over, he talked to me about the policy. He was telling me how much it was. And he said, "Well, Sonia, this is what you can do." We talked about my debt information, and I'm not a spender, y'all. I've always been a saver, so that really wasn't the issue. So he was telling me what I needed to do, talked about, the mutual fund that Primary could have to offer. And once we submit everything and the policy, send in the death certificate. I think, this was September 2017. think it was in November when you come back to me. Lawrence came back to me in November with the full face amount plus interest. And he gave this check to me. He said, you know, we had talked about you doing some investment with mutual funds. He said, I'm gonna give this to you. And you just think about what you want to do. If you decide you want to do it, you just give me a call. I'm talking about this took about 6 minutes. And he walked out, gave me a check, walked out. And I started thinking to myself, you know, Lawrence pretty smooth. Well, he's pretty smooth, but I was thinking to myself, he knows something. His business already doing pretty good. Well, he don't have to sit there and hound me and beg me to get his money back to him to invest. So what I did, I went and took the check to the bank. Once it cleared, I got a certified check and I called Lawrence. I told Lawrence I was ready to do some business with him. And when I tell you, it has been a blessing. I have a couple mutual funds with Primerica. I had a couple scare throughout the years where I called Lawrence several times and was like, it's okay. Even my dad was like, it's okay, it happens, it's gonna go up and down. But I just want to say I thank you for educating me on, you know, what to do, because I just appreciate the fact that my son's father, while he was living, you know, made a decision to think about us when, you know, once he's gone. That's what it's all about. You know, some people they think about, sometimes it's hard to sell people insurance when they don't think about when they're gone, they're not going to use it. But you have to think about your loved ones. So, you know, my son's going to have a bright future. I mean, by the time he's 13 now, we're looking for college funds to be paid for through this mutual fund. Yeah, through this mutual fund. I think I did about 85% of it that I did invest with Primerica. And I had so much more that I wanted to say, but I'm going to end with this. My son, he was 9 years old when his father passed. He's 13 now. And now that we have this mutual fund, it's making money. And he told me that he wanted a Lamborghini when he graduated from high school. And I said, well, you know, Lamborghini is really, really expensive. And he said, well, Mom, maybe you can find me a cheap Lamborghini. So we have 5 more years. So if anybody knows that you can get a cheap Lamborghini, let me know because I need to buy it.
Man, what a great story, you know, and you know, really just putting people first, serving people, doing the right thing. I've seen that over and over and over again. This company, that's how we roll. Hey, this has been great, Jared. Wow, man, Tanya, unbelievable. But Jared, that was incredible. We got that recorded. So we will have that on our app and we'll send that out to all of our VPs too. But I think as far as putting across, you know, who we are, what we do, what we have to offer and how to go get it. I love the ownership that ties in perfect because that's really what we're wanting to promote VPs and we're wanting to help people get ownership. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to be wrapping up today, and I think it'll really build on what Jared's already talked about. So, hey, now we're going to go right into again. We're going to roll. We're going to move fast. I'm going to turn it over to Lawrence, and he's going to do some nuts and bolts for us this morning. And are you going to do Q&A? Whatever you're going to do, what you do. Y'all. And by the way, whenever we intro someone, let's stand up, give you a chance to stretch, give my hand. Lawrence Lindsay, come on, buddy.
Appreciate that, guys. It's humbling that God has put us in the position to be here, but it doesn't happen by mistake. Okay, so David gave me the task of nuts and bolts, and I thought, well, dadgummit, you know what I'm saying? How are we going to do this one? Like, so this is our nuts and bolts, guys. When I first came to look at this company, you know, I was a professional fighter, got disabled, laid in bed for 3 years, couldn't work anywhere. You know, I lost my vision in my left eye. Didn't really have any avenues, but my father worked with David for 37 years. I knew this business worked. I knew it helped people. I just didn't know exactly how it worked, but I knew I could make money. because I'd seen everybody of like every nationality, every size, shape, form, fashion, everywhere make money. So I was like, if they can do it, I can do it. I've taught myself how to do a ton of things. But when I first got there, I didn't have anybody to train me or a system in place, like the awesome system Jared showed us, man, that's so amazing, right? So when I looked at the nuts and bolts, this is what I saw. I just saw a pile of nuts and bolts. I didn't know what fit together, what went where, how to work, nothing. So what I had to do is I had to simplify, right? Because guys, this isn't complicated, okay? This is easy, all right? It's simple, but it's not easy. It's hard work, right? You got to get your license. You got to go out there and change. You got to get better personally, spiritually. You got to learn how to lead people because we're in the distribution business, guys. All right, we do deal with money, but ultimately we're in the people business, right? So I had to simplify this thing and break it on down to where I could teach people to how to do it. So our biggest deal is I had to learn when I sit down with clients and I have to build a 3-minute relationship. I had to become a master at building a 3-minute relationship. Everybody is being sold something constantly. Your phone rings 5 to 10 times a day with somebody spamming you with something, trying to sell you something, or somebody's DMing you or Facebooking you. Everybody is tired of being sold something, right? So, but what people have lost the ability to do is build relationships, okay? I want to know about people. When I'm going out with somebody and training them and I'm meeting their new client, I'm going to build that relationship. I'm going to talk to them about them. I'm going to ask them the right questions. I'm not going to tell them, hey, this is Primerica, this is who we are, this is what we do. I don't even say Primerica. I'm a white label guy. What does white label mean? That means they're doing business with Lawrence. They're trusting Lawrence. They're trusting the man across the table. I'm going to give them the facts. I want to build a relationship. But first off, I need to know who you are, right? Instantly turn the conversation to the client and the family. Who are you? You know what I'm saying? How old are you? Where you from? How long y'all been together? Your kids' names. And why am I doing this? Because I'm constantly gathering the information that I need to do the plan that I need for them. And they have no idea what's going on, but I'm instantly building a reputation with them, right? And I'm getting intimate with them. And people don't do that because when the insurance man comes by, all he wants to know is your budget, what you can afford, and write something and get the heck out of Dodge, right? And none of us can afford a financial advisor, and those guys don't do no better either, okay? So I love to get personal with people, and I want to know their goals and their dreams, okay? Because when I know their goals and their dreams, then I get to find out what fuels them, right? Because everybody has something they want, but there's a reason they want it, right? Everybody's why is different, all right? But when you can get that intangible why, all right, then you've really got the relationship. And you've got to learn how to do that quickly, all right? And it's an art, and that's what we teach people to do. So when I sit down with people, this is just me basic, that I broke it down simple. I was a horrible teacher. All of my guys that have been with me for a minute, they know that was my biggest thing. I'd apologize at training for being a bad teacher. All right. But if I could kill it at the sale, 90% closer, right? But I had to learn to teach. I was always an athlete that was taught, never coached anybody. I was always coached, right? So I had to learn to be a teacher. So Stephanie was with me for 4 or 5 years, always in the road, always listening to me, always watching me close. Our first 100,000, we were 97 personally. Okay. That's a bad way to do it, but it still spins the same. Okay, so it's awesome. So I'm not going to knock it, but that's not how you build a business model, right? And Jared talks about, and David and Jill, you have to. We're in the people business, so I had to learn how to teach people how to do this. So I am a math man. I am a nerd by nature, and that's why Jared's like, I didn't know that about you. Like me and math, that's it, right? Because when we're talking about retirement, when we're talking about financial independence, when we're talking about income protection, we're talking about nothing but what? Numbers, right? So in my world, I have 2 infinite truths, the red letters and 2 + 2 = 4, right? I do not push the Bible on anybody, but I just let them know that's my faith, right? But nobody in here can deny it. Everybody agree 2 + 2 = 4? Amen? Yep. All right, that's one power of agreement, right? So after that, all right, I pretend to be a doctor. I am a financial doctor. What do you mean? All right, I've got your names. I know how many children you have. I know where you work. I know how long you've been together, right? What do I need from that? All right, I need your financial symptoms, right? I got to have the numbers. If you want me to tell you where you're going and how you're going to end up, We got to look at your 401k. All right. We got to look at how much you're saving. When do you want to retire? How do you want to retire? Have you even thought about how you're going to live at retirement? Do you know what buying power is? The rule is 72. Okay. So we break it down to them just like a doctor would break it down for a patient. So if you walked in, let's say you thought you had cancer, you go to the oncologist, right? You walk in, you sit down. The first thing the oncologist does is he starts telling you where he went to school and how great he is. And then the next thing he asks you is what you can afford. How comfortable would you feel? What happens in the financial world? Same exact thing, guys, right? They do it to everybody, right? Here we're different. And that's what makes us so special. We sit down with middle class. We find out what the family needs. We show them, we put a plan in place, and we have the best products and the best company than anybody in the US. All right. When you can own the fact that you're the best financial person they will ever meet, no matter how bad you are in the process, because you got the best company behind you, then your world will skyrocket. All right. So what do I start with? I personally start with the fin. Now you see the shark fin. That's funny, right? It's not a shark fin, all right, guys, but it's a financial independence number, right? What is that? All right. That is the magic number for the lifestyle that you want to live. All right. So I asked people, I said, so when are you going to retire? Well, I'm going to retire at 65. So everybody retires. Right. So what are you retired on? Well, I got a 401k. What's that going to look like at retirement? Well, I'm matching it. So I'm going to be okay. I mean, so you don't know exactly what you're going to have at retirement, the day you're going to retire, the buying power of the money, none of that. Well, I've never thought about that. Well, let me educate you on that, right? We're educators, right? So right then I created a what? A knowledge gap, right? Because who likes to talk about money? Does anybody not like to talk about money? Right? Everybody loves to talk about money. So we talk about money first. So I'm going to show them their financial independence number, give them the reality of the buying power of that money, right? Because like if we're 24 years from retirement, just at 3% inflation, like if they have $500,000 in retirement, it's going to spend like $250 today, right? People don't stop and think about that. That's where the education process comes in, right? So once we get through the financial independence number, then we're going to go straight to the dime, right? So what is the dime, right? The dime is how we figure out their debt, their income, their mortgage, their education. That's why I'm asking about the kids. Why I'm asking about the bills and their money, where they work, how much they're putting in their 401k. I have all this information. And I say, look, now we need to talk about income protection. All right. Now, if you're listening to the videos and all the verbiage that's going on in the company that's changing everything, income protection, guys. Insurance is an ugly word. All right. Somebody said something about me being an insurance salesman when we was at the table. And I was like, I'm gonna let you slip by with that one more time. You know what I'm saying? Don't you ever say it again, because that's not what we do. All right. But income protection, we are protecting the income that the lives will produce, not the lives themselves. You feel me? Because it's the income that will take care of your children. It's the income that will pay the mortgage. It's the income that will keep the lights on, right? That's what we're protecting. So we got to sit down and we have a basic formula. It's easy, guys. We plug the numbers, show them exactly what they need. We look at the mortgage and the education, find out when we're going to get to that self-insured point that he showed you on the theory of decreasing responsibility. And that's how long of a term we're going to give them, right? So, I mean, how amazing is that? And then I love securities. I'm a huge fan of securities. Why? Because it's so easy to go out there and do securities in this day and age, because so many people are done wrong. So my basic rule that I love is power of one. How many of y'all know about the power of one? I know my boys do, right? So the power of one. If you ever looked at any of our statements of our security clients, their year-end statements, says $25 for fees. It's handling, right? You go look at Edward Jones' statements, they got brokerage fees on there. So let's just say if it's 1% brokerage fee, just the power of one. How big is one? What's the big deal of one? All right, let me show you something, guys. Let's just say we got a $250,000 retirement. Small retirement, but we got a $250,000 retirement. Average age of retirement is 23 years. Just let you know, right? The left chart is with a 1% fee at 8%. The right chart is us giving them the 1% back. All right. Would you rather have the 1.56 million or the 1.97 million, sir? Same mutual fund, just different company. Is that a hard question to ask somebody? It's math. All right. And that's what I tell people. If I can't show you tremendous value math wise, because math don't lie, right? If you like your mutual funds and you like where you are, Well, let's come to me and I'll get rid of that fee and you can keep that fee and you and your family can have that extra $30,000, $300,000, you know? That's a huge deal. Like, I mean, I don't know if you want the beach house or you want your Edward Jones guy to have the beach house, but I want my old daggone beach house, right? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, so that intrigues people, right? So then we're talking about money, right? And we got them thinking about their future, right? So, and then we got to own the fact that when we're doing the dime and the income protection, y'all got to know your products. You got to be a master at what you do and a master at your products, right? You got to know your skill set. Do y'all know why our term insurance is so much better than any other term insurance out there? You know, I laugh when my guys will send me pictures. They'll be like, man, they've got a 20-year term and that's great. And they'll send it to me. And I'll break it down and you look at those tables on the inside, guys, it's never what it says it is, right? Nobody converts guaranteed, right? Nobody does that. Nobody lets child riders stay on at 25. How many kids can we add to a policy now, Jared? 8 or is it 10 for the same price? It's 8 or 10 for the same price, right? And what do? We stack the whole family on one daggone policy so we can get them the biggest discounts possible, cut their commission and cut their cost and our commission, all right? Who else does that? Why do we do that? So we can teach them how to save the money so they can have wealth, all right? Instead of us making a little money now, we're gonna make a lot of money later. When you do that for people and show them that you're saving them money and you're making less money by helping them save money, don't think that doesn't make a tremendous difference in how they feel about you guys. It's a huge thing. But when I sit down with clients, that's the first things we're going to hit on, all right? Retirement, how to get there. And let me tell you guys, that is the best recruiting tool in America. Show somebody what their retirement's going to look like. Show somebody what they think they're going to have and how life's really going to work. Show them how to do a financial independence number and the buying power of that at retirement. All right, they're going to need an extra $500, $600, $700 a month to have the lifestyle they want. Guess what? We got a home for that, baby. All right, 80% of the people that works in this company is part-time just to make enough to make that retirement, right? All right, but if you stick around long enough, this bug will bite you and you will want way more, right? So for the next 10 minutes, they're making me do Q&As, all right? So questions and answers on anything.
Hey, Zoom land, feel free to drop a chat.
Yeah, if you're on Zoom land, feel free to drop a chat. They put me on the spot. So anything, questions and answers. Come on, guys.
Let's start with Anthony.
Go ahead, Roger.
All right. Do you get any objections on the front end load for mutual funds?
On the front end load for mutual funds, most people do not understand mutual funds. Great question, Roger. Because most people don't even understand what their 401k is. They don't know their 401k is mutual funds. Okay. So, and I do very much encourage them to match as much as they can in their 401k, because whatever they're getting matched is 100%. And that's a bad advice to tell them any otherwise, guys. Okay. Just to do business. I'm serious. All right. But then we're going to step out and build a Roth outside, educate them on what mutual funds are. Have that knowledge. The knowledge gap is what we get paid for. That's what you have to understand. Being able to simplify it and explain it to them, and just the diversification of a mutual fund, right, versus a stock. Because I mean, stocks, like, I mean, who thought Sears would just go? I mean, come on, guys. Like, we grew up with the Sears catalog. That was what we waited for every October and November, because that's what come on now. Those of us that are over 40, we know what we're talking about. We love that. If I could have told you then that they would no longer exist, y'all would have thought I'd be crazy. It's like Blockbuster disappeared. You can't bet on one company anymore unless you're betting here, right? So you got to explain to them about diversification and mutual funds. And then the fact that we don't charge the fees that everybody else charges, right? And we can get them A shares, let them own for life, all right? But yes, that's what I do.
You get objections on the front
I always get objections. People want to know what the mutual funds are, you know? Like when Sonia, she wanted to know what the mutual funds are. I explained it. It's just like your 401k at work, all right? Except you're going to own this, all right? And you don't have to roll it out, and it's going to grow. And you know, and when the market took a little bit of dip, she called me. She was like, "Hey, it's not growing." I said, "No. We're just buying cheaper now, right?" Look, guys, there's no risk in mutual funds. There's just volatility, all right? Let me say it real quick. No risk, volatility. And you got to tell your client that. It's never went down and not came back up. Stocks are not like that. You feel me? All right, so all these people are like, well, I'm on Acorn. Great. Tell me when you're broke, we'll go buy some mutual funds, right? You know what I'm saying? And look, case in point, real case in point. I had a tugboat a river boat captain. He retired, got a huge retirement from him. Said that was everything. You know what I'm saying? He gave me everything. And he loved to play stock market. That's all he did on the riverboat was on the phone. That was his gambling. He loved to play stock market. Lost about $500,000 in 2008 on the stock market. So he promised me he was going on the stock market no more. 3 months later, he calls me. He said, all right, I lost another 100,000. I've got 250 left. He said, I want you to go get it before I lose it too. But yes, so I mean, in that case, explaining to them what the mutual funds are, showing them the progress and showing them what we do makes a huge difference.
Hey, Lawrence.
Yes, sir.
When you're comparing Edward Jones, all the other stuff, how can you show your client? Do you have to have their unanimous statement to show them where their fees are?
Well, I always love to look at their statements, okay? Because the devil is in the details. Whether we're looking at life policies, and you have to have your trainers teach you this, guys. You have to be able to break down those tables, okay? Show them the cost. The lie is always there, right? The lie was told when it was sold, but it was printed truthfully, right? The contract's real. And like I just recruited a guy in Ohio. We're over Zoom, and he sent me 2 policies. You know, it was 2 20-year terms, adjustable terms. In 5 years, in that adjustable term, then it's from Alpha. It's going to do the phone. You know, I might got them in my pocket. I mean, in my phone. In 5 years, they went from $894 a month to over $6,000 a month, or they could convert the whole life. You know, but the devil's in the details. Same thing with the mutual funds. I want to look at their statements. I'm going to show them, hey, you see these fees? You want to keep this money? You know what I'm saying? Would you rather have this money? If you like the mutual fund, I can get you any mutual fund you want. I can get you better mutual funds. But if you're in love with this mutual fund, we can just move out and get this mutual fund and save those fees. And then show them the power of one between there and retirement. And, you know, that's where math takes care of itself. Great question, Mike.
How do you handle follow-up?
How do I handle
How
follow-ups?
long will you keep following up with people?
How
do you do
Look, I'm like a dog with a daggum bone, okay? The only way that you're gonna stop me from dealing with you is tell me, do I put up a no trespassing sign and go to the cops and get a restraining order and keep me away, right? Like, why? Because it is so important to understand how important we are, right? And you have to believe that, right? And that's once you can really own the fact that every person you talk to, you're going to be the most important financial person they'll ever meet, right? I don't care how little your knowledge is yet, you're still the most important financial person they'll ever meet. Nobody will do for them what we do for them. Nobody. Nobody's capable of doing it, but nobody wants to do it because they can't get paid doing it. So great question, Daniel. Uh-oh.
Yeah. So what would you say if they said, well, I have an account with Edward Jones. I really not need to move it. I'm happy with where it is. And the power of one didn't get them. What would you say if they called Edward Jones or called Franklin Templeton to check on their funds with their social or their account number? What would?
So it's a great question. She knows the answer. So that's why she set me up. But that, you know, they love their Edward Jones guy. They go to church with him. He's a deacon. Their funds are doing okay. They're getting growth. You know, he put them in some decent funds, you know, and everything's fine. I was like, that's great. Yeah, and their friends, you know, you don't want to hurt your friends' feelings. It's just money, right? I was like, what, you know, let me see your funds. You got some Franklin Templeton funds? I love Franklin Templeton. I got a bunch of my guys in that, you know. Let's call them real quick and check on your accounts. Let's just for giggles, let's look at it, you know. You know, they call Franklin Templeton. They give them their name and their social. Guess what? They don't have no money with Franklin Templeton. And they'd be like, well, what brokerage are you with? Well, I'm with Edward Jones. Oh, well, you need to call Edward Jones because Edward Jones has your money. But you know, they're invested with us. They don't own it. That's why they're paying the fees. Edward Jones does. So
What about a Primerican?
and so that's why we sell them A shares, right? Because we give them ownership of their mutual funds, right? And they can sit there and look at them. They can call Franklin Templeton if they want to, right? They can say, hey, I want to talk about my account. You know, I can have their banking and everything hooked up for them, and they can do what they want to, right? It gives them independence. And that way they really can see and follow their future and see how much they grow. Like, you know, Sonia, when hers dropped, and now I looked at it this morning, and it looking pretty sweet now. She went to her daddy. She said, "Daddy, it's dropping." And her daddy told her, he's like, "Hey, it's gonna go up and down. Trust Lawrence. He was good to you in the beginning. He'll be good to you in the end. He'll get his Lambo." You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and her mama came on over too. So, and you know, and education goes so far, guys, because when each one teaches one. And don't think when you take the time and the effort to give somebody the knowledge and the knowledge gap to change their future, that they won't tell somebody else. Yes, Roger.
All right, so in that process with the financial independence number, you have somebody $500 shortfall. When do you turn that to?
Oh, no, great question. So we look at the shortfall, and I'm like, do you really want to live? And I show them the buying power. Buying power is everything. Right? Do you really? Because they're thinking, I got $25,000 a year, I can make it like that in retirement. And then you show them it's really like $12,500 a day. Then that just don't sound good no more, right? And then I'm like, so how do we fix that? Well, you need about $500 more a month. Then I move straight to the income protection, because obviously we got to put that in place immediately, all right? And you got to know if they're that far behind on the fin, the income protection has to be done before you leave the house, guys. And you got to be passionate about that and make sure you get the point across, okay? Because if something happens, you can't live with yourself. I've done that before. It's a horrible feeling, okay? Now, what I do is at that point, I'm like, look, we got you protected, but we need to get to that self-insured point, right? That theory of decreasing responsibility, like Jared showed you with a cross, right? So how are you going to make that extra $500 or $600 a month? You know, do you want to get another 40-hour-a-week job and work, you know, 2 jobs? Or I tell you what, we're always looking for partners. I'm always looking for somebody to come into business with me, because I want to help people. And you've got tons of people that can use the help that I just showed you, that need the knowledge that I just told you. How would you like me to take you out, do it for you? It's like going to college and getting paid to go to college. And we're going to get you state and federally licensed, and you can work as much or as little as you want, right? But if you, and this is what I tell my guys, hey, if you can take me to 2 to 3, you give me 2 to 3 hours a week, I promise you I can make you that extra $500,000 a month. All right, and I make my promises. All right, because it is simple to get that done. Okay, and then that gives them an incentive to go kick the tires, right? And then when they kick the tires, because my biggest thing is people today do not know their value. I want to show people value, right? Because everybody is working a job, and a job means you're never paid what you're worth, and you never know what you're worth because somebody's making a ton of money off what you're really worth, right? And that's where we go with that. How much time do I have, baby? I got 2 minutes left. All right, guys. So I'm gonna end up with what I had to learn to be successful, and me and Steph had to own. All right, leadership and learning how to be a leader, Art said, is the most important thing in growing your business. If you can't lead people from the front by example and lead them in the field and in the world and in your life, they're not going to follow you. Okay, and leadership starts in the mirror first day in the morning. All right, because you're going to wake up to the fears, you're going to wake up to the doubts, to the disbeliefs. The devil's going to attack you, and you got to face it every morning. All right, I do mine on the treadmill, not the mirror. I'm gonna be honest. I have sessions, guys, but you got to clear your head. All right, you have to have that positive mindset. You got to beat the devil up in the morning, get him out of your head, and own that leadership and come out and seize the day every day. All right, you cannot waste one day. My days that I have the most pain and I don't feel like it the most are the days that I get up and I make sure I leave, because that's when the days God blesses me the most. Okay, and that's what we have to do. We have to be consistent. The next thing we had to do is we had to draw a line on a piece of paper, guys. And I want you to do this. If you really want to succeed in this business, assets and liabilities. All right, take the last week and the people that took up your time in the last week, put them on one side or the other. All right, If you want to grow this business and take the next 6 to 18 months and become an RVP and own your life and build your family some freedom, you got to be honest at who gives and who takes away from your life. All right. And you've got to be big enough for your family to put the people that take away out and put the people that add to in. It's called the 80-20 rule, guys. Right. I'm not saying cut them out for good. They just don't get as much as my time. Right. And that was something that was really hard to own because a lot of people close to me that I thought were close to me, I had to move away from. And guess what? I found out they weren't close to me at all, right? They were just close to me because they needed stuff from me. And once they started getting things from me, it wasn't anything anymore. The next thing is, all right, you can get better or you can get better, all right? And Jared said something about this. You're going to fail a test. You're going to have a no-show. You're going to have a dark house. Something bad's going to happen, right? So look, this is my rule with me and Steph. We give it to each other constantly. If it ain't going to matter in 5 years, you don't get 5 minutes. If either one of us gets mad, we start the clock literally. All right. And in 5 minutes, we're like, hey, snap out. You're done. All right. Time's up. You've wasted enough of the day. Let's go on about our business. I'm not kidding, guys. Right. Own it. If it ain't going to matter in 5 years, don't give it 5 minutes. It's not worth it. All right. And then the last thing I'm gonna leave you with, guys, in the storms of life today and all the doubts that's going on in this world, we are the lighthouse, right? God put a light in us that we should shine. This business allows you to do that, okay? But a lighthouse is always lit. It's constant. It never breaks down. It never ceases. And the last thing I want to leave you with, guys, and one has to understand that braveness is not the absence of fear, but rather the strength to keep on going forward despite the fear. All right. I'm nervous every time I get in front of an appointment. You would never know it because I won't show it. But don't think that this just gets so easy it becomes natural, right? My biggest fear is failing my people, not failing me, right? So what I challenge you guys, face your fears, all right? Get up there and change, be the leaders you want to be, and set your families free. Thank y'all for your time.
So David likes to throw Jill on the spot all the time. Y'all got to see it last night. All right, he spoke, and then he was like, Jill, you want to say anything? Yep, come say something, right? I'm one of those people that I was like, no, wait, I got to talk right at 11:15. And it's so, and video is supposed to go first, so y'all forgive me if I mess anything up. The technology, the video that you guys are about to see, the financial house, man, my introduction was so much better Zoom landing, you guys, because it was coming after the video. I'm a little thrown off. What I know, though, is Primerica, they set us up to succeed way before the pandemic happened, right? Our technology was by far and by none compared to any other financial firm out there, okay? We were able to write turbo apps on our cell phones. We can write life insurance on our cell phones. Then they decided that wasn't good enough because we're buy term invest the difference. We needed to be able to invest on our cell phones. So immediately after you write a life app on a person, it says, do you want to open an investment account if you're investment licensed, guys? And lets them go straight into a mutual fund. See, nobody, and that was set up before the pandemic, guys. Our technology, Primerica, like Jared Nelson said, they invest to make us better, to make our lives easier. What we have available at our fingertips through the Primerica app is amazing. But what I love here is that everyone knows our two infinite truths are the Bible. Lawrence's is the Bible and math, right? Mine's just the Bible because I'm like, my 2 + 2 doesn't always equal 4. Okay, guys, sometimes I can't do my 6th graders algebra. Latarsha and I were talking this yesterday. Okay. But what I love is that you don't have to be a guru here. You don't have to be the math whiz. You don't have to be the analytical one, or you don't have to be the one that likes spreadsheets, right, guys? We get to be who we want to be. I love the fact that Sorry, Dave. My gust. So I can stop now? I'm going to stop. I'll be finished, guys. Can I like keep going?
Yeah, finish.
Somebody's like, are you sure?
Y'all, I'm a nervous sweater too. Oh my God.
Let the video go. Okay, let's go ahead and show the video.
Think about it. What do you think about? Where you want to be financially in the future? How much you earn? Your bills, debt, vacation? Do you think about how much you want to save or invest maybe? Most of us think about money every day. It's not that we're greedy and obsessing about it. It's just that our finances touch every area of our lives. Each of us is making vitally important decisions every day that make us either stronger financially or more vulnerable. The fact is, we're all building our own financial houses whether we realize it or not. How you build your house, the choices you make, will determine where you end up financially. The goal of making wise choices is to reach a point where your money one day works for you so you no longer have to work for your money. That's called financial independence. Ultimately, this is what we all want. It's not just a crazy fantasy that other people get to live. It's possible for you. Your dollar is just as valuable as the next person's. You can choose if that dollar disappears or if it goes to work for you. And if you make good choices for your financial house, someday you won't be looking to see how many vacation days your employer is willing to give you. You'll be deciding for yourself. If you don't have a plan and are not intentional about creating one, building your financial house is going to be like trying to build a real house without a blueprint. Not good, probably even dangerous, and I can promise you it will not lead to financial independence. And think about it. Most people spend more time planning a birthday party or a wedding than they do their entire financial future. Failing to plan is planning to fail. Your first step to building a better and brighter future is the same as with a real house. It starts with dreaming, finding a clear vision for what you really want it to look like. When you imagine the future of your financial house, what do you see? Do you want to be debt-free? Help your kids come out of college or university without a load of debt? Be able to travel or have a vacation property? Or have enough money so you don't have to even think about it? Dreaming about where you want to be financially will motivate you to create a plan for how to get there. As part of this first step, it's important to discover your financial independence number. It's the most important number in our financial lives, and yet most of us have never heard of it. It's the amount of money you need to have working for you, so eventually you never have to work for money again. Knowing your financial independence number gives you a clear goal or target. If you don't know what number you're aiming for, you'll never hit it. And when you learn your financial independence number, don't be intimidated by it. It's not as out of reach as you might think. Once you know what you're aiming for, construction can begin. Step 1 of construction is the most important part of a house, a rock-solid foundation. A strong foundation will make sure your house doesn't crumble when hit by strong winds and storms. For your financial house, we're talking about protecting your most important asset, your income. It's your income that builds your entire financial future, and you protect it with life insurance. Auto insurance replaces cars. Homeowner insurance replaces houses. Life insurance cannot replace a life, but it can replace an income. Think about how important your income is to your family. If you died today, what happens to that income? It stops. But what about the bills? They keep coming. When someone dies, almost always there are those two deaths, the death of the person and the death of their income. Just imagine what happens to a family when the income stops and the bills don't. It's called a total financial disaster. If there's not enough life insurance, not only has their family lost a loved one, they also face losing everything that their income provided. That creates a financial nightmare. An important question to ask yourself is, if you die prematurely, would you want your family to live better, the same, or worse than they do now? Most everyone says better or at least the same, but if you're not informed, it's easy to make mistakes, which is why many of us have cracks in our foundation that we're not even aware of, which puts our families at great risk. Life insurance mistake number 1 is not having any or not enough. Mistake number 2 is having the wrong kind. Many of these policies are very expensive, leaving families underinsured, and they often have savings programs that earn low returns. Life insurance mistake number 3 is the most common, depending on group life insurance from your job. Many of these plans only cover you if you are actively at work, and they can be amended or terminated without your consent. Unfortunately, most people learn about this when it's too late. This foundation is the most important part of your house. Once you get it right, you can then go to step 2, the frame. In your financial house, your frame is your cash flow plan. Most people call it a budget. A cash flow plan empowers us to start telling our money where to go instead of wondering where it went. It protects us from wasting money and making impulse purchases like gourmet coffee and stuff like that. It's not about how much money you make, but how much you keep. Without a plan, we spend more, borrow more, save less, often leaving us with more month at the end of our money. Get it? It can be very stressful. Most people say they easily waste $5 to $10 a day. For a married couple, that could be $300 to $600 a month. Imagine using that wasted money to instead eliminate debt and invest in your future. This can be the difference between reaching your financial independence number or having to work for the rest of your life. You can now see how vital this step is. Take control of your spending and stick to it. Now you're ready for step 3, the roof. In a financial house, your roof is made up of some key legal documents: your will, power of attorney, and advanced medical directive, to name a few. These documents are critical in order to protect your assets and, most importantly, your family. You want to get a will right away because if you don't have a will, your government has one for you. You just have no say in it. For example, if both parents pass away and there's no will in place, the government will decide who raises your kids, which is the last thing we would ever want to happen. Another reason to get a will is to avoid a family feud. If you don't have a will when you die, you take the risk of family conflict, creating arguments of who gets what when you're gone. That kind of turmoil can be devastating to families. It happens often, and it's a problem that is easily avoidable. Once you've done this, you can feel good about your progress. You now have the foundation, the frame, and the roof to protect and improve your family's financial well-being. Now you can get to work on the inside of your financial house. Let's start on the first floor, which is your emergency fund. There's no escaping financial emergencies. Surprises are going to happen. A broken down car, a home repair, a trip to the emergency room, or being laid off from work. And most people admit that when their next emergency hits, they will need to go into credit card debt or even worse, use their retirement savings for their emergency, which can be like a wrecking ball to their financial future. Just like an umbrella protects you from getting wet, an emergency fund protects you from that wrecking ball. It protects you from going backwards. Your goal is to have enough money saved to cover a minimum of 3 months and ideally 6 months of your living expenses. If that seems hard to do, you can begin by saving up at least $2,000. Once you pay off some debt or you are earning more, you can go back and finish setting aside the 3 to 6 months of expenses. Now let's tackle the second floor of your financial house. Here your mission is to eliminate debt. There are different kinds of debt: car loans, student loans, credit cards, and mortgages. At this point in your financial journey, the most critical debt to deal with is from credit cards. Credit card debt is the financial cancer of today. It robs us of our ability to invest, create wealth, and ultimately prevents us from reaching our financial independence number. Did you know if you make a one-time $3,000 credit card purchase with an 18% interest rate with no new purchases and only made the minimum payments, it would take at least 10 years to pay off, and you would end up paying more than $2,000 in interest charges. That costs you 66% more than the item you purchased. That's why this step is so important. The quicker you get out from under credit card debt, the quicker you'll be able to pay off other debt and begin investing much more towards your future. Debt stacking is a simple, effective strategy that pays off debt fast. It's when you pay off one debt and then use those dollars to pay off the next debt and to continue that pattern until you are totally debt-free. And then instead of wasting your extra money, you invest it. You can transform your debt payments into wealth. Debt is the enemy. Defeating it feels great, and it's another vital step in your journey toward financial independence. The third floor is the last floor of your financial house, and it's all about investing. Unfortunately, this is where most people fail terribly. Why? No one taught us about it. In school, we had math, English, science, and history, but how many of us had a class called money? Have you ever been taught about the rule of 72, compound interest, the time value of money, dollar cost averaging, mutual funds? Those are some of the tools that people use to grow their money. When you invest your money properly, it can grow exponentially. Investing the right amount of money over time in the right places enables you to reach your financial independence number. The rule of 72 may be the most important rule in money. It's a very easy mathematical formula that tells you approximately how long it takes for an investment to double in value based on its rate of return. Here's the formula. You take a given interest rate and divide it into 72. So, if your investment is going to grow with a 2% interest rate, you can divide 72 by 2, which equals 36, and that tells you your money will approximately double every 36 years. If you see a 6% rate of return, your money will approximately double every 12 years. And if your rate of return is 9%, then it's every 8 years. That is exponential growth that can happen over time, which leads us to what is the most life-changing financial concept. It's something we can all understand and take advantage of: the power of compound interest. Albert Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. Here's a real-life example. Let's say you freed up some money using your cash flow plan and debt stacking. So now you can invest $500 each month. If you invest this way for 35 years at a 2% interest rate, your money would grow to $304,280. At a 6% interest rate, it would have grown to almost $716,000. But if you would have averaged a 9% interest rate, your money would have grown to nearly $1.5 million. That's the power of compound interest. Your money can earn you more money just by being in the right place. The key to harnessing the power of compound interest is getting time on your side. It's called the time value of money. The more time money has to grow, the better. When someone starts investing in their early 20s, they could see a far greater result than if they waited till they were in their 30s or 40s. Ben Franklin once said, "You may delay, but time will not." No matter what age you are, if you haven't started, start now. One day when you have enough money working for you that you no longer have to work for money, you will be glad you started today. When people build a new house, they experience a very special feeling that first night they get to sleep there. It's a great sense of accomplishment. When it comes to your financial house, you won't need to wait till it's completed to feel that way. As soon as you get on the right path, you'll be able to feel the satisfaction of knowing you have a bright future ahead. You'll be able to trade stress and anxiety for peace and security. You'll be providing a rock-solid and beautiful financial house for the people who are most important to you. By getting your financial house in order, you can help your children build theirs. Your smart choices today can positively impact your family's financial trajectory for generations to come. And that impact can go beyond your own family. Something we haven't talked about yet, but is very important, is generosity. Being able to give generously to those in need, your place of worship, your community, or a nonprofit that's important to you is a powerful and rewarding way to make a difference. When your financial house is strong, the impact, your impact, can be that much greater. Here's a great question to consider. What action can you take now to ensure the things you learned in this video get applied in your own life? It's easy to put off, and there's probably never a convenient time, but you're losing money every minute you wait. The clock is literally ticking. And remember, it's not what you know that gets you where you want to go. It's what you do with what you know. You can have exercise equipment in your house and know what it does, but it's not going to change your life unless you use it. Money is the same way. Knowing about it is not enough. you must do something. Right now, you're going to have the opportunity to take action. To help make your choice easier, here are 3 possible paths you can choose from. Path 1, financial blueprint. If you know where you want to go financially, but you're unsure how to get there, or if you're just getting started, you can take advantage of a complimentary, cutting-edge digital tool that will create a blueprint for your money. It gives you simple-to-follow instructions that enable you to do all the things you learned about in this video, and it provides you a personal guide to help you make sure you do things right. By choosing Financial Blueprint, you will soon have a clear financial vision for you and your family, which means you can spend less time worrying about money and more time enjoying your life. Path 2, financial home improvement. Maybe for now, you want to do just 1 or 2 things to improve your current financial house. If that's you, in a moment, you can choose financial home improvement and then check the things you want to work on. Path 3, financial house review. Perhaps you have a pretty strong financial house already, but you wouldn't mind getting a second opinion to make sure you are doing the best you possibly can, or to see if there's something available now that wasn't available before that might make your financial house even better. It never hurts to explore other options. In that case, financial house review is for you. You can choose whichever path is best for you, and you can make that choice right now. Click I'm ready to take your first step.
Wow. I know y'all want to clap after that. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's what I needed, right? I needed to get excited. Compound interest makes me excited because if we could teach every single person we know that, our world would be different. The people we love and care about, our communities would look different. Our churches would look different. Our schools would look different by those simple rules. And that's what we teach people, right? We don't sell anything. We get to teach people rules that change lives. That's what gets me excited here. We get passionate about helping other people. This is a people business, and I love that. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you guys now about the video, right? Because every bit of those words were exactly the verbiage that we need to use. Lawrence and I were talking this morning, and Jazz said something yesterday. The number 7 is 7 of completion, right? That's the number of completion if you're biblical, right? Well, this year, Lawrence will have been 7 years RVP, okay? And I love the fact that it doesn't matter if you're only 7 days in or if you're 7 years in. This video is absolutely every bit of what we need. We need to listen to it over and over. If you're like Anthony P., the Primerica recruiting video, he listened to it over and over and over just so he could start spitting out those words. Income protection, cash flow plan. How amazing is that? So I'm going to talk to you guys. The fact that this is in Spanish, French, and English, guys. Lawrence said earlier, this company was built for anyone who wants it, right? Jared Nelson said he would have been the last pick. Well, we would have been the last pick on the kickball field, okay? So guys, this business and this video system made it to where the newest person can come in and sit at a kitchen table with their family and help them. That's life-changing because Lawrence used to not close 90% of the time, guys. We were hungry and needed to pay bills. And if we had this video system, I believe we'd be at $500,000 right now because we would have used it. So I'm going to show you guys, this is our plan. Between that and the Landrum app that David and Jill Landrum have produced for us, guys, Kevin Golden is one of the biggest supporters on this app because, again, this is a life-changing thing that we would all be ahead of the curve right now. But we have it now, so we have to utilize it now. The Landrum app, Primerica is amazing, but the Landrum app simplified it. For all of you that have ever logged on to Primerica, man, you know how confusing and how much stuff is on there, right? And then there's thousands of videos, and then you got to choose which one is your cup of tea and which one it's difficult. David over here dropped lots of money, who knows, on the video system, on the apps, just for us, not for him, not for David and Jill that have done this for 42 years. They did it for us because their whole mission is for us to make our lives easier so we can be at $500,000, so we can break boundaries and barriers that have been put on us that you can only make 1.5 in 40 years, right? Now, Jill just said the other day, now people in Primerica are clicking over 1 million in 3 and 4 years here, guys. See, that's because technology is different, not because the company has gotten better over the years, but with this still the same company of integrity that it started out with Art Williams. So the Landrum app, the list and the qualified list, guys, what do we do when we bring a new recruit in? We want to list, right? We want to go sit down with our 3 warmest market, okay? The Landrum app, you log into there. Now we still have to use POL, but if you guys haven't been on there, get on there, because you log in and it instantly says start here. And it's green. And there's little blue buttons and little green buttons just to take you to the next page. You can't mess up. I love that, right? Because I'm always like, it's just one button. I always tell David, and Lawrence, they can't work Zoom very well, right? They might mute everybody or unmute everyone in the middle of it, who knows? And I'm like, it's just one button. It's like, guys, this literally is just one button. You can't mess it up. But what I love the fact that we might make a list, but how do you help a recruit qualify your list? How do we qualify a list? You couldn't have qualified us. I got Lawrence $6,000 in chargebacks with my warm market. If I would have had a qualified list, he wouldn't have went on any of mine. If I would have actually made one and was like qualified them. Guys, this app, the list building qualifies your list for you. And then what's so beautiful is that those videos that you guys just seen are tied to the app. And then the app is with your contacts. Every single one of your contacts in your phone are automatically integrated into the app. You can send these videos, you can set appointments off the Landrum app. And guess what? We don't need, hey, what's up app, and so we can send out 500. The Landrum app isn't where you have to do it individually. You can send a text to 30 different people with that video in it within 2 minutes, guys. Okay, you can obviously tell I get excited over technology. I get excited over thinking what is possible now at this point if we just utilize it. I'm super excited about the e-telequote. If I had a little bit more time, I would, we've been jamming on it. Primerica is going to change our lives with e-telequote. I loved that Jared Nelson said, hey, no, let's not partner, let's buy them, right? Hey, and when you're an RVP in this company, and when you're like David and Jill, we get stock, okay? Every single month, Primerica awards us stock for helping you guys, for helping people come up, pushing people up. So that excites me. e-telequote, buying $1 billion company excites me. Now I got to move over to my phone. I'm sorry. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you, I love that Daniel asked a follow-up question, and this is part of what I was going to go over. 90% of people are not going to call you to join your business, okay? They're not going to call you to join your business. Mike Neighbors just said, hey, start a conversation. You're the one that's going to have to start the conversation and invite them in to join a business, okay? We don't convince people. And follow-upping, I do it very pleasantly and tastefully, I believe. We're not over the top aggressive. Lawrence said he's aggressive. He's so aggressive. I'm not. I'm tasteful and very, very pleasant when I go and call back, right? Don't be annoying. Don't call them every day. And here's a good rule. Day 1, exposure. Day 2, follow up with an action. And day 3, follow up again, okay? Day 1, exposure. Day 2, follow up to action. And when I mean, you might send them the video tomorrow, and if you see them that they didn't watch it or they did watch it, follow up the next day. Let's see if they did watch it. Let's expose them again to Primerica. If they don't, follow up one more time and then give them a few weeks, okay, guys? Our belief is what wins people over. Believe in yourself. Believe in the company you're sitting in this room. Believe in each other. We believe in every single one of you in here, and these 2 people were the only ones that believed in us at one point, except our agents. Man, you guys, Daniel, Steven, there's a few of you guys that have been rock solid with Lawrence and I. And Lawrence did. He used to sit at the room and was like, guys, let's just go do it. Let's just go do it. I'm teachable, not coachable, right? So I'm like, what are we doing? This one's for Tommy because, man, he got me earlier, right, guys? And I'm totally hard on him. Iron sharpens iron, but there has to be friction. See, you to grow, it's a little painful, okay? Iron sharpens iron, but there has to be friction, Tommy Landrum, right? That's why he's sharper, huh? That's why I'm sharper, right? I believe everyone that sees our business will join. I do. I believe that if we come across, I believe if they don't come, something is either wrong or we're saying it's wrong. I do believe that much in this company. I believe in our company within a company, everyone should join or wants to join, okay? If you're call reluctant, and if you don't know what that is, that's fear, lazy, or busy. That means you're call reluctant, okay?
Say it again.
If you're call reluctant, it means you're fearful, lazy, or busy. All excuses. Your why has to be greater than your excuses. It has to be so much bigger than your laziness or than your fear of picking up the phone and being told no. Your why has to be so great and so big that it doesn't matter if we talk to 10 new people a day. It doesn't matter. Juan, I'm so proud of you after talking last night. I know why Craig, man, he was so persistent. See, your why has to be so big like that, Juana, that it doesn't matter how many people you talk to. You're going to make it here. It doesn't matter where you're from, because Venezuela, Canada, Puerto Rico, all of that, we are humans. We are here to do the right thing for every single person, right? Okay, you have to work with the willing. Okay, let me say it again. You have to work with the willing. You cannot drag dead bodies around with you, okay, guys? It's exhausting. Work with the willing. Work with the ones that are like our sweet, sweet little couple over there, Lalo and Michelle. That video, every single time I watch that video, see, you guys hear us talk about Lalo and Michelle so often because Lawrence sat down. Lalo's been in the business for years now, and they're young 20s. How old are you guys? Okay, 25 and 26, an RN and a business owner that does hot shots, okay? They own 2 homes because guess what? She bought a home for his parents because they couldn't buy a home because their TIN numbers or ITN numbers that we were talking about, Lana. IT. Okay, see, when Lawrence sat down with them, I won't tell you guys how much debt they were in, but here's what Lawrence said. Here's your plan. It's going to take you 6 years. You know what Michelle said? It's not going to take me 6 years. She was like, tell me a different way to do this. And he was like, take every bit of everything you have and put it towards your debt. You want to know what these two 25 and 26-year-olds did? They gave up their downtown Tupelo apartment that cost them $1,200 a month that wouldn't fix broken roofs. They split up and he moved in with his parents and she moved in with hers, and they're married. She's a nurse that worked the COVID floor just so she could get the COVID paid. He hot-shotted his off. I want you guys to know, not even a year later, they just bought their dream home, debt-free. And she just left her job to go full-time. See, that's why you do it. That's why you do it. And I'm going to just read this one thing because I have to, I'm sorry. I sent this to Jill and it was quite a while ago, honestly, almost probably a year. And I don't even remember the movie, but the woman never dies. She lives forever. Can you imagine that, living forever? I can't. My maker's going to see me one day, okay, right? So she was in France in 1916. When you think about how old you are, the good you've done for humanity becomes exponential. In 1916, she saved a family of refugees whose daughter would discover the technique for early detection of diabetes. Her grandson would save 317 people from Rouge in Cambodia. This man prevented an accident, nuclear exchange in 1978, and likely saved civilization as a result. The famous and unknown names, she saves a life, 2 and 3 generations later, we reap the benefits. See, guys, that's what we're doing. We're laying a foundation that 2 and 3 and generations later are going to reap the benefits. See, Jill DeLandra might have waited 42 years to get her SIE license, but don't think she did it so she can go out and do security trades. She did it because they built a company within a company. They built something that can be passed down or money. She can sell that thing if they want to, guys, for lots and lots of money. The company's ownership exchange is amazing. But see, guys, what they did, it's not just their grandbabies that are going to reap it. It's their grandbabies' grandbabies. It's our grandbabies' grandbabies if we choose to fight like they did. So let's fight and let's win.
Good. That's awesome. Really, so many great points there. Okay, this is going good. this is going good. We're on time.
Amen.
It's a miracle. Okay, gentlemen. You ready? Yeah, yeah, y'all give Jill a hand.
Great job today. I'm happy to be here. I want to talk to you just real quickly about partnership today. I know y'all are shocked by it, so pick that topic. But I think a lot of times I was going to start with just some basics about how partnerships work and kind of dispel some myths and then just give you some keys on things I think help David and I build a business. But, David and I have been married 43 years and we've worked together for almost 42. I think that deserves like some kind of award. Star, crown, but our founders, Art and Angela Williams, started this company and they figured out that they were better together. And really it was a team. They were a team that started. So I'm really thankful that David and I have been able to build as a partnership and it's been a great blessing. But I want you to understand that no two partnerships are alike, first of all. There are many different partnerships as there are people, and they're very unique. There's not a right way or a wrong way. I always use the example of Patty Schechter. I'm friends with Patty. I follow her on Instagram. She's in the Bahamas right now on her yacht. Okay, Patty Schechter, dentist, has passed away, but she really built their business from her job. Okay, so he was building the business. He was close to $1 million a year, but she was a court reporter, and she had a line down. She'd ask me, what do you do? And they go, well, I teach school. I do this. I do whatever. She goes, do you want to do that the rest of your life? And if they said no, she said, give me your name and number. I'll have my husband call you. Y'all, she built their business through her job, through meeting people. And I just think about how, a lot of times we say, you've got to be in here, you got to be full-time, you got to be licensed. Everybody's different. Your role's different for everybody. I look at administrative. You got an administrative genius on this front row with Stephanie. We call her the back office beast. That girl can do anything. Home front, kids at home. You might want to be a stay-at-home mom. One of my dreams is when my kids were at home, I wanted to be at home with my kids. And let me tell you something, that's the hardest job on the planet. That's harder than building a base shop, okay, sometimes. It feels that way. Some people get licensed both in the field, both recruit, both train, both build, both sell. I mean, Mark and Sue Younger, even when she had kids, she would take a child on her hip, she and her husband go into their homes and selling people. So I just want you to know that there are all kinds of partnerships. And I've been in all those roles. My first role though was I kicked the tires, right? I was convinced I smelled a rat. I just said, these people are way too happy. They are way too excited. Something's not right here. And so I kind of was looking for that. It was too good to be true to me. But, I left a meeting after hearing Angela, not Art. I'd heard Art. Art could recruit anybody, right? He couldn't recruit me, but his wife did. I heard his wife and I heard her heart and I thought, wow, what if David and Jill Lander from Tucker's Crossing, Mississippi could do this? What if? And those light bulbs began to turn on and I began to dream and think about the what ifs, the whys, right, that you talked about. So we left that meeting, we both dropped out of college, we both quit our jobs. So we did the thing that everybody tells you not to do, right? Administrative. I mean, that's the first thing I did. We opened an office. My office was a folding table with a telephone on it, my desk. I'm like, okay, what do I do now? So David gave me an application, paper out, and he goes, okay, I closed the cell. I said, what do I do with it? He goes, I have no idea. So I began to figure out administrative, and I started running our office. Then I had Tommy, and then Tommy got sick because he was born in August. By December, he had pneumonia. And I said, I can't do this. I can't keep doing this. And he got well, he got better, and I kept trying to work. And then I had Lauren. And so then I said, okay, that's it. I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. I went in the field too, by the way. I went in the field when supposedly anybody could do this business. 1983, that's when we wanted pretty bad. I mean, the company was really growing. There was tons of momentum in the company, right? I made 2 appointments. There were 2 guys at the post office that called me sugar britches. Terrible. I was really cute back then. So these 2 guys called me, and I thought they'll give me an appointment. I didn't tell my husband was my trainer, right? Anyway, they both said no, and I quit. I said, David, I can't. The rejection just pummeled me. I just couldn't handle it. So I quit. So when Tommy was born in 81, and Laura's born in 84, I became a stay-at-home mom. And I really thought the office was going to collapse around everyone's ears. I said, there's no way they're going to survive without me in the office, right? Well, lo and behold, what they do, they did. And then I got home and y'all, I stayed there for a while and I liked it. I didn't want to leave. It was I found my new comfort zone. Like, I like this. I like this stay-at-home mom. I like this kind of a, and then David came to me. Lauren started kindergarten, and David came in one day and goes, Jill, I need you. And I said, what do you mean? I'm here, right? Because no, I need you back. I need you helping me. I need you help me building. And I remember I was a pretty new Christian, pretty new believer. And I knew there was a verse somewhere that said women aren't supposed to work. So I get my Bible out. I'm trying to find the verse. I call it my June Cleaver clause, right? I think it's in Titus chapter 2. But I'm looking for my June Cleaver clause. Y'all, some of y'all too younger. Leave It to Beaver had a mother who always had cookies in the oven, always. And I think she cleaned the house with pearls on, right? So I'm like, okay, there's a verse that says I'm supposed to stay home. Somehow, I guess I went to my concordance in the back, and I ran across Proverbs 31. An excellent wife who can find. I'm really still irritated with her. Her worth is far above jewels. The heart of her husband safely trusts in her. He shall have no lack of gain. She does good, not evil, all the days of her life. She was a realtor, farmer, seamstress, merchant. This woman did it all. And it's like God said, though. He said, you know what he said to me? Go. Go. And you know what? When you hear God say go, you better go. So I said, okay, I'm in. Let's go. I'll help you. Let's go. So, and I know at times David has felt like, I'm going to tell an old joke. Y'all act like you've never heard it. Okay, just do that for me. It's a Dan Hall joke. I love this joke because I always want to think about David. It was supposedly how the Garden of Eden went down. See, I still think it's funny after 30 years. Adam looks at all the animals and none of them really work for him. Imagine that. And so he goes to God and says, okay, God, I've been thinking about this and I need a helpmate. But man, I want her to be beautiful, right? And I need her to be a great cook. I need her to always have a great attitude. I'll never be moody, and I need her to think I am like brilliant. And God looked at Adam and he said, man, that's going to cost you a arm and a leg. And so Adam says, well, what can I get for a rib? Thank y'all. I know David feels that way sometimes. But I still tell him, I love that Thoreau says, come grow old along with me, the best is yet to be. But I want to say something to the single people in the room. Because I know you're sitting here thinking, okay, wait a minute, Jill, I don't have a partner. If you build it, they will come. Okay. You might attract the wrong kind, but if you build it, they will come. But if you build it, let me tell you something, you're going to hire people that have significant others in their life. And if you think you've got more influence over that person that they stood before God and vowed to love, honor, and cherish till death do they part, they need to get involved and understand our business. And you need to understand partnership, even if you never plan on having a partner, which is fine. And look at the people who have massive success here that aren't married. It's not really about having a partner. And you can partner with anybody. You can partner with a friend. You can partner with your child. You can partner with your team, the people you bring in. But you need to understand that dynamic of partnership. I'm telling you, it is powerful. And it will explode your business. Look at these guys. I've known him a long time. Him with her, holy cow. It's like TNT, those things you put together and all of a sudden there's an explosion. So, man, all of a sudden, I love to quote Joyce Meyer. She said something, she actually said this. She said, single people are sad, married people are mad. I mean, sometimes the grass just looks greener on the other side. She went on to say, single people want to have sex, married people don't. And that's on Zoom. Dang it. But anyway, you got to bloom where you're planted. If you're single, if you have a partner, I feel myself blushing. I can't believe I said that. Yeah, I can actually. That's so mean. If you're single, if you have a partner, man, you just got to bloom where you're planted. You got to bloom where you're planted. Because if you can't, where you are, you can't. And where you are is where you are. So take a reality check of here's where I'm in life. How do I get to where it is I want to go, right? Okay, so I've got just 10 points on building a business together as a partnership. If I've got any partners in the room or somebody has a partner, and some of these are tangible, some of them are not very tangible. The first one, I believe, from us was the most important, and it's just something as simple as belief. Do you believe? Do you believe it's gonna work? Do you believe that together y'all can do this? Do you believe that your partner has got what it takes, you know? I've always been convinced you married 3 people. The person you thought you married, you realize 6 months later, holy cow, who are you? Right? The person you actually married, but the third person is the most important person. Who will they become as a result of being married to you? You have influence over that, you know? How do you see them? How do you see each other? Art Williams always said that you've got to look at every person like they've got a sign around their neck that says, tell me you believe in me. Tell me you think I can do this. Because y'all, we're all scared, aren't we? I mean, am I the only one that 2 people said no and they quit? I mean, you know, I got to be stronger than that. And I was negative about our business in the beginning, but I was always pro David. My mother used to tell, she was so funny. She goes, Jill, she said, you think David can walk on water? I said, I kind of do look at him that way. She said, well, he can, as long as the stumps are placed just right. But I believed he could do anything. And once I got excited about Primerica, my belief in him, I remember telling him how I saw him. And I remember how he just kind of, you know, he seemed kind of embarrassed by it, but I know that it was what he needed to hear at that point in life. The Bible tells us the power of life or death are in your tongue. Life or death. Man, what do you speak over your spouse, over your kids, over your family? You can be the reason you win. You can absolutely be the reason that you quit. One of the things that's more tangible things, you got to build relationships. Somebody's talked about that already. I think it was Mike. Build relationships. You know, we did that last night. We got together and broke bread, had our charcuterie, our adult lunchable, as Stephanie likes to call it. And, you know, when David and I were putting the foundation in place, our home had people in it all the time. Tommy will tell you, we had people over all the time. And Tommy and Lauren could work a room by the time they were in middle school. I don't think they even knew they were doing it. I remember watching them. They would work through a room and talk to everybody. By the time they were in middle school, y'all, we're in the people business. If you don't like people, you're really not going to have a great career here. You've got to decide that you're going to be in the people business and that you're going to open your life up to them and you're going to spend time with them and hang out with them. And it's actually awesome. It's a great way to build a business. You got to commit to doing that. Number 3 is get involved. Yeah, I see a lot of partners just don't get involved. Because what's going to happen when you get involved, you're going to get excited. You're going to start thinking of people. You start putting names down, man, you need to talk to. Then next thing you know, you're going to start talking to people and opening that door, right? You're going to learn a ton. You're going to grow. You're going to accomplish more. You know, teamwork, just that teamwork. The number 4 is a 10, everything you possibly can. And y'all, I'm the world's worst. I'm terrible about, especially when you don't want to. If you don't want to do something, I've learned to look in the mirror and go, Jill, you know, pull yourself up by bootstraps. I don't have any bootstraps. I don't know what bootstraps are actually. But man, when you don't want to do something, you really need to double down on it. Because I'm telling you, every meeting I didn't want to go to, and David basically, I was kicking and screaming all the way there, and I sat there and I left going, what if I had not been there? What if I had not heard that? Man, I needed that. So you cannot, listen, you cannot live by how you feel. If you live by your emotions, listen, you're going to have a long, hard life. It's gonna be tough. So number 5 is attitude. I've got to quote Joyce Meyer one more time. I don't know why this stuck with me. I heard her say this probably 15 years ago. She said, a person with a great attitude, she said, a person that gets treed by a lion and enjoys the scenery. And I thought, interesting. But think about it. Okay, you got a lion who's ran you up in a tree, but you're going to decide, I'm going to enjoy the view. I'm going to enjoy the view. I got a lion down there waiting to eat me alive, right? But how important is it? I mean, think about your attitude affects your partner, your kids, your friends, your family. You know, I read this quote, I can't remember who said it. It said, one of the most important decisions you will ever make is to be in a good mood. Y'all, it's one of the hardest decisions you'll ever make. Hard thing to walk out. The power of gratitude, you know. I try to pray every day that I would just have joy. I love peace, but I pray for joy. People return to points of pleasure and they avoid pain. And I have been both, okay? I can be both. Number 6 is set goals. Man, as a couple, set goals. Reward and punish. David would have a goal of how many appointments a week. And if he hit it, we would do something fun on the weekend. And if he didn't, he worked the weekend. And you do that enough times, I was pushing him out the door. saying, go get this done, because I wanted, next thing you know, we're buying a new car, we're taking a trip to the beach, we're got extra money in the account. What do you do with it? It's fun. Tommy will remember this. This is one of the funniest things ever happened to us, y'all. We had set a family goal. And it was a big goal. Tommy wanted we were supposed to get a go-kart, and I think he ended up with a dirt bike because Mama didn't go to purchase. I never would have signed up for a dirt bike, okay? He ended up getting, I think, a Trail 70 maybe? I don't remember. Anyway, it was a big deal to the kids. And we had decorated the entire house with signs. This is back when computer paper was all attached to each other. You know what I'm talking about? And we had a fireplace that had columns, and we had signs that we could print on the computer, and you could open the cabinet door in the kitchen, like all these goals. I had a thermometer on the refrigerator, good Baptist girl, right? Thermometer, that when you reach your goal, we get to. So anyway, I had a realtor call me. Our house was not on the market, but she said, I have somebody, we had just built it. She said, somebody that wants to see your house, and since I know you, could I just bring them by to see your home, because they're getting ready to build. I'm like, man, they're gonna think we're crazy because there's signs everywhere, right? So I take down all the signs. This is so funny to me. It's why David left the room, probably. But it's not that funny with David. So anyway, the realtor came in and she called me back. She said, she loved your house. She especially loved the sign on the bedroom ceiling. So I had to take down the sign on the ceiling that said, I know you can do it. Was it Disney? Okay. The kids had written on it, we believe in you, Daddy. So set those goals. Tell your kids you're going for something. Then make it fun, but don't put things on the ceiling that could be misconstrued. Okay? Number 7 is dream together. Dream together. That's powerful. Just dream. And have fun with it. Stephanie said it's your why. It's your dream. I'm not a natural dreamer. You know what that's code for? Negative. I said, no, I'm a realist. I goes, no, you're negative. But man, this vehicle's got incredible horsepower. Incredible horsepower. Y'all, what people are doing right now in America blows my mind. Dave was on the LFIC call, and I just walked in and called a piece of a guy, some guy in Nova Scotia. And he has gotten in this business and gotten going. I was listening to him like, who is this guy? I've never even seen him before. And man, unbelievable things are happening with that. Lock arms make them happen, right? Number 8 is get out of your comfort zone. And I know it's scary. Getting out of your comfort zone. I read an article about symptoms of stress though, and it said some of the symptoms are overeating, impulse buying, and driving too fast. I think that's my idea of a perfect day. What are you talking about? So even though I'm a chicken, that could be a good thing. God tells me regularly, be strong and courageous. And I think he wants to tell all of us, be strong and courageous. Man, look who's got your back. Be strong and courageous. Be strong and courageous. Stop procrastinating. I just told Stephanie this morning, I think life's a lot like laundry. I saw this on Pinterest. Your laundry, to wash it takes about 30 minutes, to dry it takes about 60 minutes, but to put it away takes 7 to 10 business days. The women are going to get that. David's parents taught him a lot of great things. His parents are amazing people, but doing the worst first is one of the things that they really taught him. In Primerica, you can do the worst first, you can have a great life here. And I'm almost there, just 2 more points. I know that's why you're sitting up front. Try not to think about it, put my blinder on. Number 9 is you got to find your role. And it's going to be unique to you. It's not going to look like anybody else's candy line. It's going to look just like for whatever you need, right? About what it takes for y'all to build this business. Sit down together, make a list and say, here's what I know I can do. There's going to be things that you know you can do. And those are probably things that you're just naturally good at. Here's what I think I can do. And then look at the things required to build a business, and then look at, and listen, guys, we have been here 20 years when we realized I could do recruiting. I've been stuck doing stuff that was really kind of silly for me to do. We should have hired it out. I should have been doing recruiting interviews, and I just didn't know I had the ability to do it. There is more in you than you know. Man, there's more in you than you know. How horrible is it? Y'all, a lot of us going to go to the grave with so much talent that we've never used. We've never even dug it up. Stephanie called me one day. She was so excited. She said, Jill, I just figured out how to do a PowerPoint. I can do PowerPoints now. She was on fire. And I thought, how cool is it? Man, what all can you do? What all can we do? Last point is perseverance. Tommy mentioned perseverance. And I said, man, I thought Tommy just did an amazing job. They're just doing a great job. But, you know, I know you've heard the expression new level, new devil. Listen, it's not easy. I'm not going to ever be the person standing in front of a room and tell you this is going to be easy. No, growth is painful, in my opinion. Change is painful, but nothing is as painful as staying somewhere you don't belong. Nothing is as painful as staying somewhere you don't belong. And I love the C.S. Lewis quote. It says, there are far, far better things ahead than any we leave behind. Man, we got to focus on what's ahead. You know, David and I had to sit down and decide early on what we were not willing to sacrifice. And you need to do that. And it's probably not a long list. For us, it was faith, it was family, and our health. Those are things you're not willing to sacrifice. But then you need to decide what you're willing to fight for. And you need to make that list, and you need to go out there and fight for it. Hope is not a strategy. It's like that financial house video. Y'all, hope's not a strategy. You're not going to hope your way there, right? Great marriages don't just happen. Great families don't just happen. Great businesses don't just happen. But we're here to build one together. It's going to be awesome.
That's great. Good, Jill. Real good. You do that. So, what is that?
You good, Dad.
Okay, so okay, so what we're going to do, I'm just going to kind of bring us along here, and as we wrap up, like I said, we'll be out of here shortly, but I do have some things I want to kind of tie a few things together. By the way, I love what Jill called Stephanie the back office beast. Actually, another word popped into my mind. It started with a B, but anyway.
I second the motion.
Greg agreed. I got 3 motions.
That's why it just almost popped out. Okay, but anyway, I held it back. But anyway, back office beast, I like that. I thought also Jill talking about Patty Schechter. You know, I mean, that's a great question. Just as we go through life, so you're in real estate. Hey, do you want to do that now? Right? And folks, what if the people say, well, I don't know, or no? Why? Why not just add another little question? Well, look, man, we need to get together. Give me your name and number, right? Just give me your number, and I'll get with you next week. Always do everything next week. People love to procrastinate. I don't ever schedule appointments for this week. I always, look, I'll call you. Let's get together next week. People will agree to anything they don't have to do right then, right?
Yes.
So what I became an expert at is just scheduling next week. Next week, I won't give you next week. I'll call you next week, right? And so anyway, so the other thing, you know, the company, we've got the two contests going right now. To Marco Island, right? Run for the Sun. We're going next February. The contest ends in November. They're announcing new slots, but they also just announced the one to Maui, right? Hawaii, and that ends November 2. So, and not only is it my favorite island in Hawaii is Maui, right? Lahaina, the whaling village, and all that. It's just incredible. But anyway, but we're going to the Ritz-Carlton. So I tell people, look, when you combine Maui with Ritz-Carlton, it can't be bad. I mean, that cannot be a bad trip, right? So anyway, that in February,
Amen.
Think about it. What's February like here or in Ohio? Right? Not good. So, man, and you know, so anyway, the company always has great trips. But what's great is you go on the trip, right? But then you come back and you kind of rest up while you're there, but you also learn and fine tune and you're meeting other leaders. So man, the trips became just so invaluable. It became kind of like 2 vacations a year on the company. Everything's paid, but then, you know, you go and learn and come back refreshed and better, right? And fine tune it. Okay. Now, okay, so let me tell you, one of the things that, you know, this weekend is key. Some of you are staying over tonight, and talk more about that in a second, but, or if you're not, if you're going home, whatever, but let me tell you, this weekend is key. And because I really want you to have a defining moment. I can look back, you know, at defining moments in my career. When Art gave me that T-shirt, when we went to Sea Island, Georgia. I mean, there's probably 30, 40, 50, maybe 100 defining moments I've had in the decades here, right? That really I look back and say, wow, I remember that event. And it was really some of the things were just common hours when there was no great fanfare about it, but I was there and the timing was right and I heard something and something clicked inside of me, right? And so it became a defining moment. But so this weekend, but also the next week is real key that we get the right things done. So what, I just want to give you kind of some, just me looking out the back window of being here since the company was 2 years old. I've been here 42 of the 44 years, right?
Wow.
I remember at Sea Island, Georgia, they estimated that there were 10,000 people in the company at our, when we joined, 10,000. And I just remember thinking, man, good Lord, I'm looking at 10,000, you know, I mean, here I am kind of brand new. There's 10,000 people ahead of me. And I'm thinking, wow, how do you, I mean, 10,000 people, how am I going to become something in that environment, right? And so, but we were able to do that. And, but, you know, even like now, you know, as big as we are, folks, I mean, next June, National Convention, we'll be doing good to have 50,000 people in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, okay? And do you understand those 50,000 people, by the time they get home from the convention, half of them are gonna be distracted, right? Okay, let me tell you, it ain't no big deal. There's no real, if you go and become the best version of you, there's not a lot of competition, right? And I'm going to share with you right now some things you can do to separate yourself from the crowd, okay? So first thing, goals. You got to set some goals. And what goals do, goals are like a magnet. They pull you, right? It becomes kind of thinking about what your why is. What is your why? You need to think about this weekend, but also next week. What is my why? What are some goals? You need to set some short-term goals. A short-term, I would say, set at least 5 short-term goals. A short-term goal is something you want to accomplish within the next 6 months. One of those needs to be income. One of the 5 needs to be an income goal that you're going to accomplish in the next 6 months. The others can be whatever you want to go for. Okay. Okay. The other thing, set 5 long-term goals. A long-term goal is something you want to accomplish. Let's just say within the next 5 years. Within the next 5 years, what are 5 things you want to accomplish? One of them needs to be an income goal. Okay. I mean, my long-term goals, well, I want to make 30K a year, you know, and within 5 years, I was not a big thinker. Okay. And, you know, we made over 40K our first year, then 70 something thousand and 103 our third year. So anyway, that's before I joined the company. I just went to that event. And so anyway, but you also, so you need some goals, short-term goals, long-term goals, okay? But you also need something to push you, okay? So you need something pulling you, goals, thinking about what you're gonna go for, but you also need some things pushing you. And, you know, fear is a good motivator. You need some, like, what are the ramifications if you not do it? You need to really let that burn deep. And you like, you know what? If I don't do it, what's my life going to be like? And get a negative picture of that. You know what? I mean, it probably is not going to turn out that great. I mean, so I was listening to a podcast about a month and a half ago. Now this is morbid, right? But there's a guy that he and his wife or his fiance, they were getting married, and he had a severe weight problem. He weighed over 400 pounds, right? And he was a young guy, and he just knew, look, I'm gonna. The doctor told him, he said, you're gonna die. You're gonna be dead, like maybe within a year. And he's a young guy, and his fiance, they really wanted to get married and have a baby, right? So what he did, he got a picture in his mind of like them having a baby, and then his son or daughter at his funeral looking over in the casket. He said, I thought about it every day, right? Now he's in perfect health, but he used that, what I'm saying, he used the fear as fuel, okay? So you know, have things that pull you, but also some things that push you, okay? And combine those two, and I think that's good, okay? Now, here's the thing about it is, you know, you got to think about the pain of change or the pain of regret, okay? If you win here, what would you do with it? Right? If you win here, what would you do with your success? Think about that. You'd do this. You'd help your parents. You'd help your in-laws. You'd do this. You know, I'd help my church. And begin to dream about that. Okay. Okay. Let me ask you another question. Are you okay with that not happening? Whatever you'd want to, you know, if you won here, what would you do with it? And ask the next question: are you okay with that not happening? You may be okay. So, well, you know what? I guess I'm okay with it. Then, if you're going to settle for that, then that's fine. Just admit it and say, you know what? I want it. It'd be nice if that did happen, but you know what? If it doesn't happen, I'm okay with it. I can't change it. You know what I mean? I can't change people like that. Okay? So you got to get to the point in your life to where it's no longer acceptable, right? Okay? You know, I remember Jill and I went to our 20th year class, my 20th year class reunion. Okay? A 10-year reunion, not that dramatic. 20-year, man, people started changing, right? And you think, whoa, what happened here, right? And I remember our 20th reunion, my 20th reunion, on the way home, I was just a little, I said, man, Jill, I said, man, I would love to go back to, I'd love to go back to my senior year. And I said, but Jill, you know, because we'd had like 3 days with these people, right? And I said, I'd love to go back to my senior year because there'd be some things I would have taken not as serious as I did, but there'd be some things I would have taken a lot more serious. So the only problem is I can't go back. And I just had this real melancholy feeling of I just wanted a do-over. You know, if I could go back. But you know what I thought? I said, well, you know what? I can't go back, but I can make sure in 2031, I'm not looking back at 2021 saying the same thing. Right? Man. So, you know, everything in the past is kind of water under the bridge. But, you know, the great thing is, man, next 10 years, it's not yet. Wow. What's unbelievable is we're halfway through this year. Is that unbelievable? We just had Christmas not long ago. Here we are halfway through 2021, and we got 9 more years. You know what I mean? And so, man, we need to take that seriously. And so, you know, and the thing about it is, thinking about the next 10 years looking forward seems like a long time, but looking back, how long is 10 years? It's a flicker. Can you believe 10 years ago, right? Looking back, how fast it went. Guys, man, and you know, we got one shot at this, right? I mean, when we got one lot, okay? And while we're here in this tent, this temporary housing we're in, we're kind of stuck here with what we got, okay? We got to take care of it with the best that we can, but none of us are getting out of here alive, right? Okay, none of us. So we're all gonna face that day, okay? And so, man, really, it's about, you know, what do we feel like the Lord wants us to do with what we got? And man, I do know that we need to. I think that we're here to make a difference, to care about people, to serve others. Okay. So set some goals. Okay. Set some goals. Now you set some goals. I'm saying that you need to think about this this weekend, next week, and take this seriously and say, again, what are the video? By the way, the video, why in the heck would we try to duplicate that?
Everybody else is.
Do you think, huh? Do you think that, I mean, why would I not just sit down with somebody, you know, if I see, you know, Lawrence here and say, listen, you gonna do what you're doing from now on? Well, I hope not. Well, let's get together. And why would I not just get with Lawrence, either on Zoom or in person, and say, look, it's gonna take me an hour, but you got 16 minutes. Let's just watch this together. I think that's the best thing to do. Set up a specific appointment. Let's sit down and watch this together, and let's look at what we do for people, right? Why would I try to do that? I'm thinking about if I were a new recruit, and all I would have had to do was walk across my yard to Harold Jones, my first appointment, and rather than me hyperventilating at his kitchen table, right? If I would have just been able to hit play, say, hey, Peggy and Harold, watch this. Let's watch this together. Okay? If I would have had that as my security blanket, oh my gosh. I think of the recruiting that I have done over the years, and now having these digital tools. You think we ain't gonna do it, right? In this environment? And think of me as a leader rather than me. I mean, I'm thinking about Craig. I was Craig's field trainer. God bless him. Right? Or Tommy, right? I mean, oh my gosh. Because I had so much, I was like the Tin Man on Wizard of Oz. I mean, they had to like douse me in oil, right, to get the rust out. Okay. But think of it not only from a new recruit standpoint, but for someone as a leader, if I would have been to say, okay, here's the recruit, here's because Craig gives me his presentation, let's just say, I'm making this up, and it's good. Well, 3 months later, I get back with him, and I'm thinking, how did he morph into that? right? Because, you know, we drill, our presentation drill. Next thing you know, he's talking to somebody for 3 hours. He's not, but I'm just saying. So for the new recruit, having something duplicatable and transferable, for the leader, having something duplicatable and transferable that I can pass off, that's a home run, right? Okay, now, so, okay, what's your game plan? Okay, Art Williams taught us this. Okay, once you set your goals, get your game plan. He said the 3 keys to winning. You got to, number 1, be a good person. Number 2, you got to have work ethic, and you got to get a game plan. He said if you'll be a good person, game plan, and work ethic, you'll be in the top 10% of every category ever in the company. And that was true 40 years ago. It's true today. Okay, you take a district leader like Juana. If she has a game plan and a good person and work ethic, she'll be in the top 10% of all district leaders in primary. I don't know whether it'll take her 2 months or 3 months or 6 months, but she'll be in the top 10%. I've seen it work every time you do those 3 things. Game plan, work ethic, good person, okay? Okay, so here's just a few things to do, okay? Number 1, become the best version of you, right? Become the best version of you, okay? I think that starts with spiritual, okay? The Lord, you know, commit to the Lord, okay? Or recommit to the Lord. And I'm not talking about religion. Religions are great, okay? Not really. But anyway, but I'm not talking about religion, because a lot of people in religion, you know, and I'm talking about even leadership, they love building their kingdom, right? So I'm talking about the kingdom, right? But I'm talking about a personal relationship with the Lord, and to cultivate that and let it be genuine and real, okay? The best version of you from a health standpoint. Just say, you know what, man, I'm going to get help here. By the way, this is free. I'm not charging anything for this, but this is a book. I'm giving this book away now. It's The Complete Guide to Fasting. Okay, one of our guys in Canada, Julian Serena, he's a key player up there. Jill and I went to see Julian several years ago in Toronto, and I said, and Julian looked like young to us. Man, Jill said, what are you doing?
He's glowing.
He was glowing. He said, David, and he held up this book. He said, man, this Jason Fung, F-U-N-G. He said, man, he's written this book, Complete Guide to Fasting. He said, I'm doing intermittent fasting. And he said, man, it's incredible what's happened to my health and my life. Folks, you need to get this. You need to consume it. Just read a chapter a day. Read a chapter a day.
I'm hungry.
It's a game. It's a game. And you know what happens when you start getting better in one area of your life, it affects all other areas.
Amen.
So when I'm talking about everything from the spiritual, right, to the health, then all of a sudden when you become disciplined in one area, other stuff starts falling off of you, right? And so you begin to start hitting on all cylinders, okay? And anyway, I could talk about that for longer, but I'm not going to. But we got to wrap up. Okay, so reading. You know, man, just start reading. As a matter of fact, let me tell you, an app you need to download. This is free too. Okay, no, you have to pay for this. I'm telling you, my advice is free. But you can download the app, Linklist. Linklist. Huh? Blinkist? You're right. I didn't want you to have
I noticed it when he said it last
Blinkist. Blinkist. Blinkist, right? And it's and this little audio, it's like, I mean, it's $8 a month or something like that. But yeah, but you know, they send you and they ask you all these questions. What are you interested in? Like entrepreneurship, financial, whatever, all these categories, art, whatever you're interested in, just pick as many categories you want. They start sending you these Cliff Note versions of books. You can read it or it's audio. And while you're working out, whatever, just listen to it. I'll go through and they have like 9-minute versions of the book, or 12-minute, or 19-minute, or you can get really detailed. Man, like I'll tell you, well, I've read 2 books today. So it's a great way. And so I'll come back in and I'll jot down what jumps out at me, right? And it's amazing. So all of a sudden you're learning, and you kind of begin to sharpen your blade. Okay, number 2. So become the best version of you. Number 2, expand your market. Okay, but you got to expand your market, because that's the only way you can stay here. Is expand your market. You got to let people know that you're an option. Again, we've already talked about it. People are not going to contact you. You've got to contact them. You've got to be proactive. You've got to take that initiative and just let people know you're an option. Okay. And the thing about it is, hey, look, John, hey man, what you got going next week? Next week, right? I need a favor, right? I'm going to get your opinion. These words: favor, opinion, help. I need your help. Mm-hmm. You need to memorize those words. Just do me a favor. Opinion. I want to get your opinion. Don't use them all with one person. But I need your help, right? I got an idea. I want to run by you. I love that. I got that fruition crossing on class. I got an idea. I want to run by you. What is it? Well, that's why I want to get with you. I want to run it by you, right? Okay. Keep it indirect. You know, I'm starting a new business. I want to see what you think about it. I know you're not interested, but you might know someone else. You might be able to send somebody in my direction. Nothing may come from it, but you never can touch it. Right? Okay. Man, I mean, it works like look amazing. And then just get with people and let them know you're an option. Let me show you what I've come across. Okay. And then go through your story. Okay, let me tell you how I got here, Joe. Now I'm sitting down here with you. Let me tell you how I got here. At the health club, Brenda came over, showed this to me. I started doing it 4 months part-time. Then I went full-time with my first office, And then just clip that version of your story and then show the video. Let me show you what we do. And 16-minute video, play the video. And then, hey, what do you think about it? What do you like most about it? You know, and then take it from there. And let people know, listen, I'm looking for 3 things. I'm looking for people to work. We're opening more locations. I'm looking for 3 things: people to work, I'm looking for clients, and I'm looking for recommendations. And other than that, look, let me tell you guys.
Will you say that one more time?
Huh?
Will you say that one more time? You're looking for 3?
Yeah, I'm looking for 3. We're looking for leadership. We're looking to open more locations. Looking for leadership. Okay. We're looking for clients that we can help save money, get more value. Or we're looking for recommendations. Right? Referral recommendations of other people. What'd you think about this video? What'd you like most about it? I'm looking for 3 things. Do you have any interest in any of these? And then just whatever. Let it be whatever. It doesn't matter at that point, right? Look, let me tell you, if you do that and they say they're not interested, what you do is you smile. Thank you for letting me come by. Hey, look, let me ask you, Joe, would you mind me at least staying in touch with you? I know you're not interested, but would you mind me periodically just to touch base with you, to keep you up to date on kind of my progress and how things are going, would you mind me doing that? No, I've never had anybody say, yeah, do not contact me. I've been 42 years, I've never had that happen, right? And you won't either. They'll say, no, yeah, that's fine. What they've done is just giving you permission for once a quarter or once a year, whatever. Say, hey, look, hey, Joe, just following back up with you. Hey, man, good things are happening. I'd like to buy you a cup of coffee next week. Next week, do everything next week. I'd like to buy you a cup of coffee next week. You know, I got some things I want to bring you up to date on things. And let's buy lunch. Let's meet for breakfast. Let's have lunch. Let me tell you, the easiest form of success is something where you're buying something for somebody. Buy a cup of coffee, breakfast, lunch. Let me tell you, I've had lunches. I've had 3 lunches in a row on the same day. Like the first one, I eat a salad. The second one, I eat an entree. Third one, I eat a dessert. Right? You know, and short, sweet. I mean,
But that doesn't go with the fasting book.
huh?
How does that work with the fasting?
No, it doesn't work on that. So you can't fast when you do that. You break your fast. Okay. So, okay. So anyway, okay. Now, number three. So we've set some goals. Okay. We got a game plan. Okay. You got to let people know you're an option. Number 3, go develop 30 clients. Go develop 30 clients. Because until you develop 30 clients, you're not going to be, you're not going to have it internalized, right? And really what you happen when you do that, you develop clients, you become a copy work duplicate at that point. Okay. Number 4, so develop 30 clients. Number 4, build. Okay. And I would just say recruit 2 to 4 personal recruits a month. Once you develop 30 clients, you've internalized it now. You're almost saying it in your sleep. You know what to say, you know how to say it. Okay. And then build 2 to 4 personal recruits a month, just letting people know you're an option. If they aren't interested, again, you're looking for 3 things: people to work, clients, or recommendations. Okay. And recruit 2 to 4 personal recruits a month. I've never seen anyone that has a builder's mindset. They're a copy work duplicating. Then they get 2 to 4 personal. I've never seen anybody not do it. You know, my brother Mike, that's what he finally locked into. First year, he had just got married. He was on the honeymoon the whole year, right? Him and Amy. 19,000 in income. He was basically retired. You know, he was dodging my phone calls, right? Because I would always ask him, hey man, what's your activity look like? Right? He'd call me griping about, oh man, I'm not making any money. My car won't go in reverse. He had a car that wouldn't go in reverse. So he had to make sure he always parked on the street where he could just go straight. Unless I lived on my hill. Okay, so anyway, okay. Okay. I was going to talk about us versus multi-level stuff. I'm not going to go into that because I thought Jared Nelson did great. He did great. Get a securities license. Man, to not have a securities license, when I came in, they told me it'd make an extra 10 to 15,000 a year in income by getting a securities license. And 40 years ago, that was a lot of money. But now, to not have a securities license, this costs you 50,000 a year minimum. It's an extra 50K a year in income. So 50 to 100K is what it costs you not to have a securities license. What will happen is 2 to 4 personal recruits a month. Okay, you're going to make 50,000 in the next 12 months. When you start doing the first 12 months, you'll make 50K. The second 12 months, you'll double it to 100K. The third year, you'll make a minimum 200K. If you were to able to keep that up for 2 to 4 person recruits a month, or that first year, every year you do it, it's a minimum. You're doubling your income every year. 50, 100, 200, right? Impossible not to happen. Impossible. So, you you got to narrow things down. You know what you have time for during that time? God, family, business. Everything else has to take a back seat, right? Okay. Everything else has to take a back seat. And you know what? There's not going to be a lot of cheerleaders in the beginning because people don't, your family, your friends, they don't know what you're fighting for. Actually, you're fighting, part of the reason you're doing it is because of them, right? But they don't get it. Okay, and that's okay. If they really got it, what you were really gonna do for your family, extended family, they'd clear the way for you. God, if they only knew what's in your heart, they would clear the aisles. They would clear a path for you, and that's why Jill and I started thinking about the things because I wanted to change things for our family tree, for my family, for, Jill's mom and dad, that type of thing. And we could have done more, but at the same time, we don't really have a lot of regrets there. Okay, so I'm wrap it up. If you had a kid that said, "Hey, Dad, Mom, listen, man, I love you. I want to honor our family. I want to take care of our family. I want to be a good thing. I want to be, I want to help people. I want to be a good son, a good daughter." And you were the parent, what would you do for that kid? Anything, right? You'd move mountains, right? Well, you understand that's the same way the Lord feels about you, right? Okay. We're down here on this earth in this temporary shelter, right? This body, and have a genuine, authentic heart to go out and serve and help and be a good kid and honor the family name, right? I'm talking about the family, the big kingdom deal, right? And God's got a kid like that down here. You don't think he's going to look out for him? You think he's going to be hiding around the corner waiting to knock him upside the head with a, stick or whatever? No. He's going to be looking for a way to bless that person, right? Okay, why? Because they're doing it from the right heart. Genuine. Hey, number 5, okay? Promotions. Get your promotions. Hey, folks, let me tell you, man, those promotion guidelines, I meant to have a copy in here. But look, those promotion guidelines tell you exactly what you got to do. Man, we take those so for granted. It's unbelievable. Man, I mean, to think about that, this is the last thing that you'll, from a career standpoint, that you'll ever have to get good at. It's the last thing you'll ever have to get good at. And you're done financially the rest of your life, and then you can pass it on. That you can actually, we're a Fortune 1000 company that you can own a piece of, right? I mean, and so going to RVP is big. Just a couple of tips. I've never seen anyone do it big part-time here. I've never seen anybody do it big part-time in 42 years. If you chase 2 rabbits, both will escape. I got full-time after 4 months. You got to get a game plan to get full-time. I've never seen anybody do it here big until they got a little ticked off. You know, most people always come in and try to do it without committing and without really working. Everybody tries it hoping it's going to be easy, but when they find out they're going to really have to commit and go out there and let on the line, they either quit and go get a good job, or they come out swinging. They get a little ticked off, okay, and that's when they win, okay. Okay, what time is it?
Go for it.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me say this. Okay. 4 stages. 4 stages. Okay. 4 stages of business. Number 1, you become a copy worth duplicating. You have to become good, not great. You don't have to be great to make it here. Okay. Art said, once you've been in 90 days, you know everything you need to do to go win, right? So you don't have to be great to make it here, okay? But you got to be good. Don Lindsay that came and talked to me, he was brand new when he talked to me. Okay, he didn't know everything. He was brand new, but he knew more than I knew. So he was the teacher. I didn't look at him as inferior. Like, man, he's not that good, because he was not that good. But man, he had my attention. I respected him, but he knew more than me. So I was his student. And so you got to be the same thing. You got to bloom where you're planted. You're not going to start off being great, but if you can be, you just got to know more than they know. Like Peggy Jones, my first appointment, when I got through hyperventilating, at the end of an hour and a half, Peggy looked at me and she said, David, how did you learn all of this? And that's when it hit me. I said, good Lord, I have been in here self-doubt. I have freaked out for this hour and a half. And I don't know everything, but I know more than Peggy knows. And that was a valuable, I said, man, you know, already, folks, I'm telling you, if you've been around here 6 months, 3 months, you know more than 90% of Americans know about their money, okay? So anyway, so number 1 is become a copy worth duplicating. Number 2 is get full time. It took me 4 months, okay? And you know, when you know, you just got to figure out how to get full time. I mean, I would say this: if you're not full time, what's your budget? And if it's let's say you got to make $5,000 a month, okay, we'll go out and make $2,500 1 month part time, because you know if you do that part time, if you were full time, you could double that. Does it make sense? But you got to get a plan to do that, and you got to get full time quick. Okay, have that sense of urgency. So the steps are: become a copy worth duplicating. How do you do that? 30 clients on your own. Okay, get full time. Step 3, RVP. Get to RVP. We'll talk about that some other time. Next time about what it takes to become an RVP. And then number 4 is ownership. Okay, ownership. You know, I've got right here the ownership brochure. Okay, and you go online, and the company, you know, has all, you know, everything what you have to do to get the ownership. Jerry talked about that. You know, man, I just see people that, like my Uncle Bob, my Uncle Bob, my mom's brother, passed away. He owned a Western Auto store in Hattiesburg, so he was an entrepreneur. And years ago, he was talking to me. He said, Dave, he said, man, these people that, like, you know, they say they want to do this with their life. They want these warm, fuzzy feelings about what they do and all. He said, man, I just don't get it. You know, he said, because, man, he said, think about kids running around their magnolia tree, playing in their front yard, say, man, you know, you never hear kids say, man, I want to grow up and make hamburgers. I want to own a McDonald's. You know what I mean? It's more dramatic stuff. And he said, but you know what? what Ray Kroc did, he made hamburgers where grown men would lose sleep at night thinking about being able to own them, right? And to me, that's what we have. I mean, and I just think our ownership package, guys, where you got, okay, think about this, Fortune 1000, no inventory, no payroll, no franchise fee, no territory, get as big as you want, as many locations as you want, and then you own the income stream that you pass on, right, or sell. So that's a big deal. Okay, I think we are. I think that's enough. I think there's one little quote. Oh yeah, you got to focus. Zig Ziglar. It doesn't matter how much power, brilliance, or energy you have, if you don't harness it and focus it on a specific target and hold it there, you're never going to accomplish as much as your ability wants, right? And then I love what Gary Bittner said the other day. He said, when people ask, when are you going to retire? And he said, man, if you if you like playing golf, when are you going to retire from golf? I mean, you're going to play it as long as you can. Why would somebody retire here? And so, I know that Tuesdays and Thursdays, if you're not plugged into LFIC, those are two. They're now starting securities training on Thursday, investment training. This Tuesday on LFIC is going to be getting people licensed in securities and life, the best way to do it. David Harms is a big builder with the company. He's going to be teaching on that. Any of those LFIC calls that you can plug into, that'd be great to do that. It's every Tuesday and Thursday at 11:30 Central Time. Of course, this month we got the $49 IBA this month, which is big. And then we're going to keep our Saturday training going 10 a.m. I know you do 9. Y'all do 9 a.m. Saturday morning. We'll keep ours going. Yeah, fine.
And I know you're about to wrap up. I just want to say you and Mark and Stephanie, how important this was to this group. Everybody here, it's great to get back together. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for great leadership.
We appreciate it. But man, listen, everybody's been great. The other thing too, what's impressive? Y'all came and stayed.
Amen.
Because you know what? We used to have to think first there, last to leave. First there, last to leave. Be the first one there, last one to leave. And because it's what you learn, it's the sum of the parts. You know what I mean? Now, what we do is we leave here and you go, think about it, make some notes, get your game plan. But then the other thing, don't just isolate from there. Let's move forward. And then when you hit a roadblock or whatever, well, be coachable. Listen, I mean, if you're doing something that's not working, let's get it corrected. So just, we're available. We want to promote VPs. We want to get people their ownership program, because we're into building more leadership. And so that's important. Okay, so what time is it now?
It's 1 o'clock, Dave.
We're
It's
gonna-
1. It's 1.
The only thing I want to say is some of you are staying over, okay? Some of you may want to go out to, if you are staying over, out to Livingston. It's a little town that I had the idea on back in '06. And you just, well, they can give you the address or somebody can give you that address. Huh? iPhone, that's right, technology.
We're back on technology.
Okay, so, okay, so then, so there's restaurant, you know, the Gathering restaurant out there is great, the Briar Patch. The Briar Patch is, Garden and Gun magazine has it as one of the top 10 new bars in the country. In the South, in the South.
Phenomenal, guys.
And so anyway, Candace's brother owns it. And she designed it. Jill owns part of it, actually. There's a Thursday overview on your Zoom.
You're gonna do it next month.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jill and I are doing an overview on the 24th of this month, Thursday night. But then Lawrence, y'all are doing.
We do one that we're changing ours every Thursday.
Yeah.
Every
Except
Thursday
yours.
instead of Monday.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But anyway, then in the morning, 10 a.m., Dan Hall at our Livingston Fellowship. It's incredible. It's the best. I've never been part of a church. It's better than that to me.
Amen.
But anyway, 10 to 11 a.m. in the morning. That's great. And anything else?
Yes, absolutely. The last thing I want to end with is there's a post-pandemic. I know we just gathered for the first time. There's a hierarchy-wide in Hattiesburg next
yeah.
month, July the 24th, I believe. There's something like that.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
Right.
Yes. Okay.
Let's show out.
Let's
I can
make
give
sure
you
David
directions
and Jill
if
and
you
all.
want.
Let's go down there and rock that stage. This will be the time that this is a even bigger and greater
Yeah,
event.
it's 10 to 2:30 a.m. It's going to be at the convention center on July 24th. And Mike has invited our CEO, Glenn Williams. We'll get that confirmed this week. So Glenn, hopefully will be
And
there.
it'll be Zoom available too.
Huh?
And it will be Zoom available.
Zoom available there too. I think.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. God bless y'all. Have fun. Let's roll.